Before we begin the following program, we would like to say that, in our opinion, it is not suitable for children or those of you who are of a Marxist or misandrist disposition.
And now on BBC America, Jodie Whittaker is back as Dr. Pooh, and she's foxed.
Oh no.
Oh, for God's sake!
I don't like it.
I know you don't.
No.
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 But you can't rewrite history, not one line.
People spend all their time making nice things, and other people come along and break them.
It's the end.
You're the cause of this disaster.
The first episode of Series 13 of Dr. Pooh, The Halloween Apocalypse, is, if the overnight viewing figures are anything to go by, a ratings apocalypse. Only 4.43 million people bothered to tune in on the night as it went out. Of course, the Whittaker shills will try and spin this as a positive and do what they always do and try and blame it on poor marketing rather than the crap product. But the numbers don't lie. So let's take a look at the ratings for the diverse and inclusive Dr. Pooh and see what kind of story they tell. Welcome to the inevitable ratings video, Dr. Pooh, the Ratings Apocalypse. So let's start by going all the way back to 2018 and Whittaker's first episode, The Feminazi Who Fell to Earth. It had an overnight of 8 million and a final consolidated figure of 10.5, a difference of 2.5 million people who caught up with the episode on iPlayer the week after it went out. Now, as we all know, the only reason that number was as high wasn't enthusiasm, but curiosity for the first and hopefully last Vagina Doctor. If you look back over the figures since 2005, you can see that for almost every series, 8 out of 10 in fact, the highest rated episode is the first one. Opening nights are the ones that get the most advanced publicity and attract the most attention and eyeballs. The really important figure is always the one for the second episode, as it indicates how many people want to come back for more. Or not. Now this is where it gets a bit like Bruce Forsyth's Play Your Cards Right. You can play the game of, is it going to be higher or lower than the previous one? So, episode 2, higher or lower than 8 million? What do you think? Yes, the answer is lower. Less people watched episode 2 than episode 1, and less people caught up with it on iPlayer than episode 1. You better get used to that. Episode 3, higher or lower than 6.9? Lower, an overnight of 6.1, a final of 8, a difference of 1.9 million. Episode 4, higher or lower than 6.1? Higher, but only just, 6.2 to 7.9, a difference of 1.7 million. Episode 5, higher or lower than 6.2? Lower, 5.9 to 7.4, a difference of 1.5 million. Episode 6, higher or lower than 5.9? Lower, 5.5 to 7.2, a difference of 1.7 million. So for Whittaker's first 6 episodes, nearly every week, less people are watching than the week before, and less people are catching up on iPlayer than the week before. Okay, episode 7. Higher or lower than 5.5? Higher, 5.7 to 7.2, difference of 1.5 million. Episode 8. Higher or lower than 5.7? Lower, 5.4 to 7 million, a difference of 1.6. Episode 9. Higher or lower? What do you think? Lower, 4.8 to 6.2, a difference of 1.4 million. And the finale, the last episode, the 10th episode of the series, The Battle of the Planet with a Stupid Name, higher or lower than 4.8? Higher, but again, not by much, 5.1 to 6.4, a difference of 1.3 million. So these are the figures for Series 1 of Doctor Who. And if you're the BBC looking at these, well, you obviously made the right creative choice putting Chris Chibnall in charge, didn't you? So that's the first series out of the way. And the next one, the festive special, Resolution, the one with the Lady Dalek, saw the expected bump, even though it had a lower overnight, 4.9 to 6.9, a difference of 2 million people. So the viewing figures for Series 1 of Doctor Who and its first special are, by any objective assessment, if you're not a Shittaka shill or a lefty, they're a complete disaster. So you would think and hope and expect that they would do some work for Series 2 to try and get them going back up instead of going back down. You would imagine that things would get better, but they don't. They get worse, a lot worse. So here we go, opening episode, Spy Shite, overnight 4.6, consolidated 6.7. Episode 2, higher or lower? Lower, 4.4. Next one, higher or lower? Lower, 3.9. Next one, higher or lower? Lower, 3.8. Next one, higher or lower? Higher, 4. Next one, higher or lower? Lower, 3.7. Next one, lower, 3.6. Next one, oh, you don't get nothing for a pen, not in this game. Next one, higher or lower? Lower. And the next one after that, the infamous cannon killer that was The Timeless Children. Again, same, 3.5. These are the figures for Series 2. Highest episode, the opener, 6.7. Lowest episode, the finale, 4.5. And the trajectory is still the same. And then they get the inevitable boost for, what was it called, Revolution of the Daleks, otherwise known as Captain Jack's back. Please watch. Now you can see immediately the difference that the addition of Captain Jack makes, and the inevitable rise in the final figure to 6.2. Now, that's a hell of a jump. And people obviously think, ooh, Doctor Who's back, people are finally warming to the Vagina Doctor. No, not really. The only reason that episode rates as highly as it does is, again, because Jack's in it. And now that John Barrowman's been cancelled, they can't rely on him to boost the viewing figures. So they bring back the cyber people and the potato heads and the weeping angels and hope that that does it. The Halloween Apocalypse, 4.43 million. And we're going back down again. Now remember what I said at the start. In the 10 seasons of Doctor Who before the Vagina Doctor, 8 out of 10, the highest rated episode of that entire season was the opening one. So we can expect history to repeat itself, which means the overnight for Fuxed of 4.43 for the Halloween Apocalypse is going to be the highest the viewing figures are going to go. Now when we get the 3 not-so-specials in 2022, we're inevitably going to see higher rated figures for those, because of course everyone's waiting for Shittaka to regenerate into an actor who's actually suited to the part, so expect those numbers to be considerably higher. But as far as Fuxed is concerned, the final viewing figure, well, is probably going to be somewhere in the region of 5.5 million, maybe a bit higher, maybe 5.7, something like that. The average increase is about 1 million to 1.5 million, 1.3 million, so from overnight at 4.4, you would expect the Halloween Apocalypse final figure to come out somewhere maybe slightly north of 5.5 million. But what does that mean for the rest of the season? Well, it's probably going to look something like this. We can't be sure. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure. These numbers are not going to go up. They're only going to go one way. Down, 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 down.
If you're a lefty and have been affected by any of the issues raised in this program,
Fuck off!